Despite outshooting their opponents 33-25, the New Jersey Devils fell to the Toronto Maple Leafs on Tuesday night, March 7th, by a score of 4-3. I'm James Burley for WFUV Sports. And coming into this one, the Devils came off of a pretty successful three-game road trip out west against Colorado, Vegas, and Arizona. A couple wins sandwiched with a loss in Vegas, but a really good showing of games out there for the Devils, coming in with a lot of momentum and with a new face in Timo Meier, acquired last week off the trade deadline. This would be his first game as a New Jersey Devil in New Jersey. He scored in his first one against Arizona on Sunday, a first period goal for Meier. Unfortunately, he was not able to get on the score sheet at the Prudential Center against the Leafs, but the reception for Meier was huge. That was the talk of the town coming into this one. It was Timo Meier time in New Jersey, and before the puck even dropped, fans were chanting, "We want Meier, we want Meier," and when he had the puck, it just seemed like the place would erupt every time. And it was not to say that it wasn't a great atmosphere in general, because this was a wild finish in this game. From start to the end, it was excitement. And in the first period, it was all New Jersey. 15 shots to 5 at the end of this frame, and they made Ilya Samsonov have to save some ridiculous shots, and he was magnificent, the Toronto netminder. And it's funny that Vitek Vanacek comes in and has a very good prospective season after spending time as a backup in Washington to Samsonov, and now they face off, and both, I thought, had played very decent games in net. Samsonov getting the better of Vanacek with the scoreline, and also racking up as many as 30 saves. But in the second period, it was Toronto who kind of benefited off the lack of chances taken by New Jersey in the first. And it was Calle Jarnkrok who benefits off of great passing sequence from Sam Lafferty and William Nylander. He was all alone on the post, right in front of Vanacek's net. Tomas Tatar and Jonas Siegenthaler retreating back on the rush. Could not pick him up, and it was an easy tap-in for Jarnkrok to make it 1-0. And Toronto really did excel in that second period. It wasn't just the goal. They completely changed the way that game went. They flew out of the gates in that second period and were probably in control for most of that, at least 15 or so minutes. But it would be late in that second period where the Devils got a little gift of their own on their own passing sequence on the rush. It would be Jesper Vokvist on a great stretch pass to force a chance that Erik Haula would eventually tap home on the rebound. A big goal for Haula, just his 6th of the year, and he would later add a second one in the third period. But in that third period, it was the Devils who seemed to have the momentum at the end of the second and going into the third with a 4-minute double minor assessed for a high sticking that actually knocked Andre Palat in the face, and he was forced to step off at the end of the second period. He returned in the third, but not before Mitch Marner got a shorthanded goal early in that third period. A breakaway on Vanacek, puck trickled out into the neutral zone, and it was a foot race, and he certainly won it, and he beat Vanacek for his 23rd goal of the year, and to put the Leafs up 2-1 against the run of play. However, on the very same power play, Andre Palat would get one back off the floor and on the board, as they say. A nice little power move into the middle. Mercer found him in front of the net. A backhand try was initially saved by Samsonov, but once again, the Devils get a rebound goal. Now they tied things up at 2. And just a few minutes after that, Erik Haula would add his 2nd and 7th of the season on another deflection. It was Andre Palat on the far wing, throwing one in front, seeming at a sharp angle that should not have beaten Samsonov, but Haula somehow deflected it into the near post side to beat the netminder for Toronto to make it 3-2, giving the Devils their first lead of the night. And it must be said that this third line for New Jersey of Andre Palat, Erik Haula, and Jesper Vokvist were phenomenal tonight. They contributed to all 3 goals. Haula getting a pair and Palat getting one in between. A 3-point night for both of those guys. Dawson Mercer adding an assist on Palat's goal, and Vokvist adding an assist on Haula's goal. But that would only be short-lived, as just 6 minutes later, Michael Bunting added a goal to make it 3-3. And on the power play that Timo Meier actually took for high sticking, Austin Matthews puts the dagger in 4-3. A couple of nice passing sequences on both of those goals. Michael Bunting being the beneficiary on the first one, and Matthews receiving a centering pass from from Mitch Marner. And Austin Matthews, if he's wide open in the slot on a centering pass like that, he's not missing. And Vanacek, who I thought has had a couple of weaker performances coming into this one, looked really sharp tonight. Probably going to be on the bad end of a couple bounces here and there. Maybe he should have done better on 1 or 2, but at the end of the day, the Devils really shot themselves in the foot, not converting their chances earlier in the game. Toronto, a team with that much skill, if you leave a foot in the door for them, you better believe they're going to slam the door shut behind them, and that is certainly what they did. Austin Matthews getting the game winner in the dying minutes on just 2:53 to play, and it was an absolute heartbreaker for the Devils, who really were the better team for the majority of the game. You take away those first 15 minutes of the second period and the last 5 minutes of the third, and this is a game that the Devils walk away from really thinking that they can outshine any team in the Eastern Conference, especially since now just 2 points split between the Devils and Leafs, and now a 4-point swing has just happened between the Devils and Hurricanes, who defeated the Montreal Canadiens in a shootout at the Bell Center. The Devils will continue this week on the road when they travel to D.C. on Thursday for a tilt against the Capitals, and then on Saturday where they go back to the Bell Center to face the Canadiens before retreating back home for a really tough stretch of games against the Hurricanes, and then a back-to-back against the Tampa Bay Lightning, both at the Prudential Center. So this is a really big week coming up for the New Jersey Devils. They're going to look back at this one and think this is a game that they really should have gotten more out of, but not the end of the world considering what they have in front of them and the work that they've done behind them. The Devils really are in a good position this year in the playoffs. A setback now with the Hurricanes winning and this really demoralizing loss to the Leafs. But with that said, they still have a lot to be excited about and a lot to look forward to in these next few games. For WFUV Sports, I'm James Burley. I'll see you guys next time.